What's up, y'all? It's Lawrence Hicks Wilson. Welcome to my channel if this is your first time. Welcome back to my channel if this isn't your first time. And today we're going to talk about 30 years with this amazing debut album, Brandy. Let's get into it.
Don't ever doubt you'll be someone. Always go for what you want. Get up and put your purpose on. Get up, feel the sunshine on your face. Believe that you deserve it all. Put in the work and you will end up far. This is my show and tell. So tell me, are you ready to get it on? So tell me, yeah. So tell me, are you ready? So tell me, are you ready for me? So tell me, are you ready? Tell me, are you ready?
Now, this is not your usual album retrospective. Now, if you want to see my complete album retrospective on this album, click the links in the description. I will link it up here as well, and it will be at the end of this video. But we're going to talk about the singles, the pandemonium, the history behind this album, just a little bit. We're not going to get too deep into it. I'm not going to keep y'all here long, Saints, I promise. But Brandy's self-titled album, it released September 27th, 1994, and I have a few versions of this album. I can't begin to express how special this project and this album is to me. First of all, I want to shout out Keith Crouch. I want to shout out Kipper Jones. I want to shout out Human Rhythm Productions. I want to shout out Rasan Patterson. I would love to shout out Cherie Patrice. I would love to shout out Trina from Something for the People. I would like to shout out Something for the People, Robin Thicke, anybody that had anything to do with the creation, the writing, the production, the background vocals, the production of this album. I'm shouting you out because you are the soundtracks to some of our childhoods and some of our young adulthood right now, discovering music. Some of you inspired us to be singers, producers, writers, and I'm one of them. So it's, you know, I especially the ones that I've personally have been blessed to have an encounter with, not to hyper focus on that, but you guys know who you are, who I've talked to, and I just want to say thank you. If you don't know, Brandy is an American singer. She released this album when she was 14 years old, and she has hits like I Want to Be Down, Baby, Best Friend, Broken Hearted, and album cuts like Sunny Days and Always on My Mind. This album spearheaded so many singles and successes and made so many historical points. It won an American Music Award. Brandy won Best New Artist in 1996 for her 1994 album. She also was nominated for a Grammy for Baby. Baby reached #1 on the charts, as well as I Want to Be Down. I believe it was either the remix. I think it was the remix that reached #1. The original version went gold, and Broken Hearted went platinum as well. From this album alone, this had spearheaded so many opportunities for Brandy to come, like her television show Moesha, going on tours with Boys to Men, and Cinderella, and so much more. And we're going to talk about that. First, I want to show you more versions of the album that I have. This is the repressed version of the vinyl that came out probably in 2017, because it's on here. This was released in 2017. This is a reprint. And the way you could tell that it's a reprint is by the logo. So if you look at the logo on here, I opened one and I kept one closed. Sorry, I'm just kooky like that. I have to have multiple copies. One that is like mint condition, and one that I can open. One I can leave in the car, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna have like 2 or 3 of them bad boys. I have so many of these and had so many of these. 2 of them, one used to belong to my mom. I don't know what happened to it. We lost it. And then another one her neighbor bought for me, and that one flew off the back of my mom's car one day. But let's segue back to how I could tell this is a repressed version of the album. You can just tell by the font and the logo. Look at the B here and look at the B there. Look at the R and the R there. I just noticed little details like that. Probably because they needed this image to look very high quality. I always wonder why they didn't just blow it up so it can fit on the whole entire vinyl, but the original pressing doesn't look like that. But if anyone has the original promotional poster, I think it's like a 12x12 cardboard cutout that I have. It is completely blown up and it looks quite lovely. Love it, freaking love it. That's how I always imagined the cover of the vinyl looking, but hey, I'll take it. One day I'm gonna have an original pressing. of this album on vinyl, but for now the repressed versions are just as great. Look at the back. Great shot of Brandy. Brandy at the time was braid queen, hat queen, teenage sister girl, around the way home girl dream. Okay, look, another shot of that lovely face of hers. She's the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life. To this day, I still regard her as such. Like, that's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Before we get into these magazines that I have in my lap and we go through some of memory lane, these are one of the magazines that I have. This one is from the New York Post. This is when Moesha was just coming out and being marketed. This was like at the beginning of 1996, so it should have a date on here, but we can get into that. What you see behind me is the website, and if you can't tell by the shirt, I wore my Brandy era shirt, you know, complimenting the first era, if you will. But this is what Atlantic Records website looked like in 1995 through 1996 for Brandy. So if you visited the Atlantic Records website or was surfing the internet in 1995 or 1996, especially around the time Brandy's album went platinum and she had turned 16, y'all remember this website. Now, let me tell you what I remember about this website. What I remember about this website is when you went to it, Broken Hearted, the remix would play, like a snippet, and then it would fade out. That's what I remember, which is crazy, because I have great memory. It's just, let's look, let me not stay there. Let me not stay there. But the very first single, let me backtrack real quick. Like, I have another, there's another one. So how many do I have? I have 3 of these. I would have had 4 if I would have had the one that flew off the back of my mom's car, which is the one her neighbor bought me in, I believe around the time Never Say Never was released, because she asked me which Brandy album I wanted. We went to the CD store. I was like a baby, but I knew what I wanted. And she was like, well, which one do you want? And I'm thinking, well, I already have the new one, Never Say Never. I want the first one. So she got me that one. But my mom had already had it on cassette. Don't know what happened to it, but I know we had eventually lost it. But the first single released off of this album, I have multiple versions of it, is I Wanna Be Down. I Wanna Be Down also has a remix. I believe I Wanna Be Down was released September 5th, 1994. This is the promotional version of I Wanna Be Down, which was sent out to radio and DJs. This is a collector's item now. Like, I mean, the cover alone is just so sassy and cute, and this is why I, you know, chose my single cover to look like this, because of her. Like, a lot of the things that I do is inspired by her and so many different other artists. So many, and I'm not telling you who it is. But so many different other artists inspire me, and it goes, oh, if they were doing it, I know I can do it. So this is the actual cover and the cassette that goes with it. I Wanna Be Down. This one has the album version, which is the LP version, an instrumental, a Cool Out remix, the Cool Out instrumental, and an acapella. This has just the I Wanna Be Down radio edit with, you know, with the sneak peek to the album on here. And this is what I remember the most. This is the tape that my aunt had, and I'll never forget the first time I heard it and how old I was. I probably wasn't even 3 or 4, but I remember being extremely young, and I remember my mom telling me I was extremely young, because I was like, Mom, when did I start liking Brandy? She's like, man, you were like 2. Like, it's been since day 1. But yes, this is the cassette that she played, and cassettes are double-sided, so she'd be like, do you want to hear it again? She flipped it over and played the other side, and it just stuck with me ever since. So yes, Brandy, I wanna be down with you. And fun fact about this song, one of the ladies that I, not to put you out on Front Street, but one of the amazing singers that I had a pleasure on connecting with, which is such a blessing, I'm saying it humbly, she gave me and gives me a lot of insight. She was the one who taught me how the harmonies really go to Moving On, because she's singing on it. And, you know, I made up my own, and, you know, based off what I can hear, and she sent me some videos like, look, let me tell you how it goes. And I just, now I sing it like that. Ever since she sent me those clips, shout out to you, you know who you are. Ever since I heard those clips, ever since you sent me those clips, now I sing the Moving On song like that. Look, I'll give you all a sneak peek. So if the role don't fit me, got to be moving on. So many different layers to the Moving On hook. and she taught me how to really sing it, but no one can sing it as great as Brandy, as her. They really perfected it. I'm just a student that is learning right now when it comes to y'all. Like y'all the, you know what I'm saying, y'all the captains. But yes, I Want to Be Down, the original song, features another background singer that she said was actually a white girl with some soul. Look, look, I'm not trying to start any ruckus or anything, but that's what I heard. And I was shocked to hear that, like, what? But so many, you never know until someone tells you. So the second single released off of this album is Baby, 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 Baby. And it's my favorite song off of this album. And the single was actually released on my birthday, December 24th, 1994. To know that it was released on the day of my birthday, it was like, this song was, it's meant to, it's in my DNA, it's in my destiny. Check out my cover to Baby. It's on my YouTube channel, and I did the choreography to it. I was, oh my God, this was like at the end of middle school or the beginning of high school when I did that with my sister. And yeah, I did it to the song at first, and then I tried uploading it, and YouTube was like, nope, this is not your song, basically, the copyrights and all that stuff. So I took the liberty on re-recording it the best way I could at the time, and that's what you guys have. So I hope you guys like the rendition and the video that goes with it. So I'm also gonna link that in the description and put it up either at the end of this video, but check out my cover to Brandy Baby. But that is one of my favorite Brandy songs off of this album, the second single, and it went #1. It also got her a Grammy nomination. She performed it at the American Music Awards. She performed it at MTV's Spring Bling. She performed it at so many different places on BET, VH1. This song, which is kind of weird, it's probably one of the most memorable Brandy songs, and I don't know why they don't play it on the radio more. Like, this should be played on the radio so much more. I'll tell you this, when I know that I'm in tune with the universe, certain songs will start to play on the radio, because I know we're all like frequencies and stuff like that. So a lot of the times when her songs come on the radio, I know it's my ancestors trying to talk to me, y'all. I'm serious, y'all. Like, I'm trying to be dead serious. Like, I'll see angel numbers, or it'll be like a pivotal moment in my life. Like, when the last time I heard Baby come on the radio, it was 5:55, and I had to move from Arizona to the Valley of California because of a situation that did not work out with a friend that could have left me homeless and stranded and high and dry in Arizona. But when I heard that song and I saw the time, I was like, that's my ancestors looking out saying it's gonna be okay. Focus on the Brandy song. You good. Look. All right, the third single coming from this album is Best Friend, and this was featured on an episode of Moesha when the show came out in January of 1996. And it comes with so many different remixes on the single. This is why buying singles are important. I also have this on cassette, which features Best Friend and Moving On as a B-side. I never knew Moving On was a B-side, which enticed me to buy this single even more. So this one is different from this one. This actually has 1, 2, 3, 4 remixes on it, 1 club mix, and the LP version, of course. So if you didn't know, it's on here, and it's worth the buy. Even if Spotify or Apple Music put this EP or single on there, it doesn't compare to actually having it. So I noticed that they're starting to do that now, like especially when they hear like us complain about how artists aren't putting out singles, but it still don't compare to having it. It don't compare to like knowing that there's a special remix on here that you have, that's tangible, that you can hold. I mean, look at the design. Look at it's everything. It's everything. It doesn't compare to having it. Sorry. And then this one is different from this one, so you got different, you know, it just doesn't compare, and it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And I feel like all artists can have a piece of the pie. So any record labels that's watching me, or, you know, low-key ghost people in the industry that's kind of like low-key in the behind the scenes, like watching, we can all do it. We can all do it, and we can all still have success at making sure the singles are right, making sure the songs are right, making sure the songs aren't just 2 minutes, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, all those things, you know. But y'all got the money and all that other stuff. But us artists, we still gonna make it. We still gonna make it, and there's room for everybody. But yeah, let me get off that tangent, because that's a whole nother rabbit hole. Now, the fourth single, before I get into the fourth single, there was a special CD released in 1995 called Peak Performance. This was a CD you can get at Sears at the mall at Sears if you went inside. I don't know if there was a standee for it because I obviously wasn't there, but it would have been cool if I was. On this Brandy website, they're promoting it at the bottom. That's the Peak Performance album down there, and some of the pictures in the background come from the album, as you can see. So this was basically what people imagined when you thought of Brandy at this time, like, because this was the image, this was the look, this was, you know, so a lot of people maybe remember her mostly like this if they stopped following her after her first album. There was so much more that she did, so I don't know why, but whatever. But on this one, there is the I Want to Be Down remix, a special I'm Yours remix that is not available on any other CD but here, and a Best Friend remix that's not available on any other remix but this CD, and another Best Friend vinyl, but not the original Best Friend single that I have. It's not even on there. Like, I just showed you guys the Best Friend single, and the Best Friend remix that's on here is not even on here. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, for y'all that are watching, for you industry people that are watching, you could be taking notes and putting this into to your next artist, but we could all be applying these to ourselves. I could be applying it to myself. You could put your money and your, you know, all that into your artist and apply it to them too. It doesn't matter, but we miss it. Like, that's what we miss, like the realness, creativeness, the, you know, having multiple versions and actually having to own it. You know what I mean? Like, it would, like, if you could just stream this special, you know, CD on Apple Music, like, that's one thing. But what was special about this, you actually had to go to Sears and get it signed. So you actually had a chance to meet Brandy. So most people that have this album, you had to go up to Sears, buy it, maybe give $5, or maybe stand in line all day just to get a signature, a photo, and a free CD. That's what makes it special. So, hey, there's that. So the fourth and final single off of Brandy's first album is Broken Hearted, and it is a remix which features Wanya Morris of Boyz II Men, one of the 4 members out of that group. She actually was on tour at the time when they cut this record with Boyz II Men. And Boyz II Men was the, through a story through Wanya, he was the one that talked to Sarah Finney and got in touch with Sarah Finney so they could put together, you know, the whole Moesha thing, which was, they were already kind of setting up and didn't really know what girl to have in mind. I heard that Kim Phil's sister was a girl that possibly that show could have been created for, but eventually when Wanya, you know, connected Brandy to the situation, it made so much more sense. And what really, you know, sealed the deal, it wasn't really her acting, it was the cover of the 17 magazine that she was also featured in at the time while being on tour with Boyz II Men. And at the time, Broken Hearted had just dropped, and the Peak Performance album, which is right here, was out along with her original LP. So Brandy had it going on by the spring of 1995. Her album was released in the fall of 1994. So Wanya Morris made that happen. They wrote the theme song to Moesha, which is what he said on his end of the story. And there you have it, Moesha. So Ralph Farquaad saw the front cover of this magazine and was like, okay, everyone's saying Brandy, who is this Brandy girl? Let me see. And he saw her, called her in. They did an audition, which was a particular audition, but he called Tootie, Kim Fields. Ha ha ha. See how the Fields are still connected in this. And Kim Fields coached Brandy to star in her sitcom Moesha, because apparently she wasn't the greatest acting, which is like no shade, because she's a vocalist, she's a singer, and the last time Brandy had acted was in theater. So when you off camera and haven't been auditioning, of course you kind of need to work out some kinks. But I believe Brandy is a natural. Brandy has always been a natural. I don't think she gave herself enough credit, and maybe she was just nervous that day and was like, let me just do something. So this is the magazine to when Moesha was first introduced to the world by Jet. At the bottom it says singer Brandy is Moesha. So at the time people hadn't synonymously connected her with Moesha. We really didn't start doing that until maybe the 2nd or 3rd season, you know. This is another one by the 3rd season. This is by the end of the 1st season, because this is November of 1996. The 2nd season of Moesha, she I think she had just won the Aretha Franklin Artist of the Year award, and that's when the second season of Moesha was starting. If you look up, you know, I could just tell by the hairstyle that they had started the second season of Moesha. This is definitely the third season of Moesha. Well, you know, it says it on the front cover of the magazine. But by this time, this is 1997. Yeah, September 8th, 1997. Brandy was still riding off of the success of her first album. Never Say Never hadn't even dropped a single or had been mentioned or released yet, which is a pretty big deal. By the end of 1997, we got Cinderella. This also played a part, you know, her first album also played a part into Cinderella. I remember seeing some drawings for what they wanted Brandy to look like in her Cinderella gown, and some of the sketches that they used headshots from her first album to kind of get an idea of what the Cinderella would look like, which was pretty freaking cool. If you watch the behind the scenes of Cinderella, you'll know what I'm talking about. But by November 3rd, 1997, we were still writing on that Brandy's first album, but now she had a successful sitcom and went on tour with Boyz II Men, which I have more photos from that tour and more magazines from that time period when she went on tour with Boyz II Men, but eventually led up to Cinderella. This is all before her second album and the Grammy win. I'm telling you, big deal, right? Big deal. March 9th, April, May. So 2 months before her single was released for her second album, she had Usher guest starring on her show Moesha. So we were still in the first Brandy era when Usher was guest starring on Moesha. Like, this is how impactful and how drawn out the first album was. Like, we were still bopping, we were still banging it. Look, Brandy on the front, Brandy on the back. Look, there's no coincidence there. No coincidence at all. Do you guys miss like the old Coca-Cola ads when they used to like really market to urban audiences? Look, Moesha, the Times, for the Los Angeles Times, right? No, these are the New York Times, I'm sorry. Now I'm gonna show you guys some of what's inside of these magazines. This is the magazine Blues and Soul from the UK. This is a magazine article that was done on Brandy in 1995 during her tour with Boyz II Men. So in the summer of 1995, in June. Love this cover. It's from the Baby video. It's a behind the scenes shot. One of my favorite videos and songs. And here she's on tour recording the Where Are You Now song to the Batman Forever soundtrack that she was included on in 1995. Lenny Kravitz wrote and produced it. She was doing everything at once. Touring, recording songs for soundtracks, getting ready for a new television show. She was also included on the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack for the Sitting Up in My Room song that also went #1. I have that single, y'all. I have that single. So I had to show y'all, not only was Brandy featured on the Batman Forever soundtrack in 1995, but she was on the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack with her mentor, Whitney Houston. This was before Cinderella. So she already kind of had her foot in the door with the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack and got in Whitney's good graces. She met her in 1995 backstage at the Kids' Choice Awards, which was probably Brandy's dream come true. That's how I imagine me meeting Brandy. Like, it would obviously be a dream come true. Like, I would love that. Like, but you know, Sitting Up in My Room from the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack. I have 2 versions to that single. This is the cassette version, which has Patti LaBelle, My Love, Sweet Love as a B-side. And this one is the LL Cool J version, which has, you know, 4 different remixes, including the album version, a hip hop and a Doug Rashid remix. This is the back cover. Love it. Play it out. And I've actually heard the LL Cool J remix played on the radio quite a few times and in the shopping mart before, which was crazy. So real quick, did you guys know that there's 2 versions to Brandy's Best Friend music video? And if you did, and if you've seen it, comment in the video that you've seen it and what you noticed was different. Also, did you notice that there's 2 versions to the Sitting Up in My Room music video? And if you did and you've seen it, let me know in the comments and let me know what the difference is between the 2 videos. So another soundtrack that Brandy was featured on during the first era of her album was Set It Off, another soundtrack with Batman Forever and Waiting to Exhale. Features Queen Latifah, Jada Pinkett, Vivica Fox, and Kimberly Elise, sorry. I was gonna say Elise Neal. So many great Black actresses. Shout out to you, Elise Neal. You're great and you're beautiful. Kimberly Elise, excuse me. The song off this soundtrack was the Missing You track featuring Tamia, Gladys Knight, and Shaka Khan. Again, Brandy was in the rink with greats at 16, 17, and 18. Like, come on now. Like, movie with Whitney Houston, on a soundtrack with Whitney Houston, on a soundtrack with Gladys Knight and Shaka Khan. It's just not, we're not doing that now. Like, a lot of these new girls, like especially these rap girls, they ain't trying to get on track with Lil' Kim. They trying to beef with her so they can yo. Anyway, Set It Off, great movie, great soundtrack. This soundtrack also features her brother Ray J with the song Let It Go, which was also featured on his first album, which was also produced by the producers on her first album. The albums don't sound the same, but it totally complements Ray J's voice. And if anybody could be the boy Brandy besides myself, it would obviously be Ray J first. I mean, come on, it's in his blood. But yes, Set It Off. Anybody in there out here got the Set It Off soundtrack and or has the Missing You single? Also, there's two versions to the Missing You song. There is a version that's on this album, and there's also a different version. It starts different. How many of y'all know what version I'm talking about? Put it in the comments, because I've heard the second version to the song. It's not so different, but it's not quite the same. But it just starts off a little different. You know, it starts off with more Brandy ad-libs. It starts off with the beat instead of them coming in a cappella style, which probably could have been the original track, and then they edited it into them starting off the song a cappella style. But yeah, if you don't know, now you know. Another soundtrack that Brandy was featured on was Quincy Jones' Juke Joint, Q's Juke Joint by Quincy Jones. It's not a soundtrack, it's more like a compilation featuring various artists that were very popular at this time. And on this album, Brandy covered the classic Rock With You by Michael Jackson, which I covered that too. So check out my cover to Rock With You. I'm gonna link it in the description. But yes, Brandy on tour in 1995, recording music for soundtracks, touring with Boyz II Men, getting ready for a television show. This isn't actually a personal drawing of mine, my own personal interpretation of what I felt Brandy looked like at this time. I drew this almost over 13 years ago at an acting camp that I was at. Oh my God, I don't even think I had started school yet, or I probably had just started school, but yes, this was my doodle on my own time of Brandy. As you can see, some of the erasing marks, because I was trying to perfect. But you know, I used to always draw different things and doodle and draw my like I would imagine my album covers and I would draw them and make my own logos and stuff like that and date them. So like I can prove to y'all I always used to do this. So another special magazine by, I want to say, Right On. This is a Right On special magazine that includes a book full of images of Brandy at this time between 1994 and 1995, and it also features pictures from, with TLC, Mary J. Blige, Brown Stone, Miss Jones, and a lot of different male and female artists like Boyz II Men. Some of these pictures that are in this magazine, like I said, when I used to doodle and draw Brandy, I was literally drawing stuff out of here and didn't know it, because again, this is a very spiritual world. So like when you imagine something, like if you can see it, it probably already exists or it's probably going to exist. Some of the pictures of her with Boyz II Men, like I literally maybe I've seen it as a kid and just forgot, but I remember doodling and drawing it and imagining, like I would draw fake magazines with Brandy in it and include Boyz II Men and include all of this kind of stuff, but not knowing that later on collecting it, that it would manifest. It's these pictures right here. These pictures, because I remember doodling in class one day and drawing pictures that look like this, especially this one, and it just like struck a memory, like, oof. I've definitely seen, maybe I've seen these pictures before, maybe not, but man, they just, these are the type of Brandy pictures that are not gonna pop up when you Google her. That's what makes these pictures special. Google is gonna show you what they want you to show, Like if they don't want it to exist, it won't exist. You'll have to literally print like newspaper archive articles or look through the archives to find it. But yes, that is a little bit of my special Brandy magazine that I keep in a plastic slipcover to protect it. Well, they're all in plastic slipcover because it's just very special and rare. Brandy had also become a hair icon at this time for her braids, her signature braids, which become a thing that people identified her for, like, oh, the girl with the braids. So it made other girls want to wear braids, box braids, wrap braids, you know, whatever you want to call them, whatever, you know, braids that were burnt at the tip. She was the queen of baby hair. Look, let me tell you, Another Word Up magazine that includes Brandy on the cover at her Sweet 16 party. Look at that gorgeous shot. She didn't have to take her clothes off or anything. There was something super exotic and like really attractive about Brandy, and still is. And I can say that because she obviously was a teenager at this time, but y'all get it. Y'all get it. Anyway, this is a pretty cool magazine because they're promoting Design of a Decade, that Janet Jackson Greatest Hits album. Like, I love opening magazines and seeing stuff like that. It just, look at that. Janet Jackson Design of a Decade. Look, let's focus. There's so many cool pictures in here, like Escape, Mary J. Blige, Faith Evans. This is really telling of what the time was at this time. And this is Brandy at her Sweet 16, and right here is Brandy at the Urban Aid concert in 1995. Another concert and special that's really hard to find in full. I wish somebody would just find the Moesha special and upload it, because there were some really good performances from this night. Monica performed this night, as well as Mary J. Blige, and Aaliyah was at this concert. This was a very popular concert that they would do every year. I don't know if they still do the Urban Aid. That's something I would also love to do one day, perform at the Urban Aid. Does anybody remember Veronica? All right, let's not get sidetracked. You know, this era was so long. It dragged out from 1994 all the way up until March of 1998. Moesha was in its third season in March of 1998, and by the time it came back in probably August of 1998, which was the fourth season, things had really changed dramatically because of Brandy was growing up and maturing. This magazine is the Essence magazine from May of 1997 for Mother's Day. This is still the first era of Brandy, but this is a prime example of her popularity, and she could just be on the front cover of the magazine and be everywhere. She had a TV show, Cinderella, all those things. Just so many great things about this era, so many things I can say about it. And I feel like it inspired a lot of female artists that came after her, like, you know, any really teen sensation that came after Brandy. You can tell that they were pulling from her or Aaliyah, you know what I'm saying? And then whoever came after those ladies, you know, they were definitely pulling from them too. You got the Monicas. For an example, Maya, who was released, I think she got signed in 1996. Her first album was released in 1998. Her front cover looks a lot like Brandy's front cover, and I used to always feel that way, as well as the art style of her album. You know, it's very reminiscent. I remember she said someone didn't know that she was allergic to peanuts, and they gave her some, which made her face swell up. But I feel like it makes me think of them trying to make the cover look more like this. They probably didn't tell her though, like, oh, get her to eat these peanuts, she'll be all right, which is horrible. And not only is the art style and the album cover similar, but also the fashion is a little bit similar, like with the white and brown, especially when you look at these pictures of Brandy. Like this one, and then like that was just the thing. I feel like they look the same to me. I feel like they looked at Brandy, was like, oh, okay, we see what we got to do. This is what the female artists are doing right now, type thing, you know. But yeah, this album is responsible for birthing a lot of stars and inspiring a lot of industry people to have their own Brandys or be their own artist. The sound of this album inspired so many producers, like Toni Braxton's Secrets album. The production style on that album sounds a lot like Keith Crouch's production, and Babyface had this album sitting on his desk when Brandy came in to record, sitting up in my room, so I'm sure he had a chance to stop and listen to it. A lot of different albums and a lot of different artists. Kirk Franklin was inspired by Brandy during this time. You know, a lot of people. This album, like, you know, I could say more. I could say so much. It's super impactful. It's undeniable. If those who know. If you get it, you get it. Do your own research and homework on it. If you think I'm, you know, blowing smoke, like, oh, he's just exaggerating. No, this everybody and their mama had this album. If I promise you, if we all time traveled back to 1997, and we would let's just go take a trip to LA in California. Anybody that had a case of CDs and a stack of CDs or an entertainment center, I promise this was sitting in it. If they owned any hip hop or R&B albums, this was it. It was there. I promise. I promise. Along with Foxy Brown, Lil' Kim, and Brian McKnight and Will Downing and Whitney Houston and all those people, You know what I'm saying? And my grandparents love Mariah Carey. They definitely have Mariah Carey and Brandy's album. So yeah, even my grandparents had this album. Even like my aunties, she was still in middle school. She was like, this was, the kids was listening to it and the grown folks. Like, Brandy, kudos to you. This is why you're everything to me. You mean so much to me. And let me stop this video here because I'll keep going on and on and on about it. But if you want to see me talk about every track on this album and go track by track and actually watch the album retrospective, it's going to be at the end of this video. You'll be able to click it, and I'll link it and put it in the description as well. Happy 30 years to this album. Shout out to everybody that had a hand in singing a note, writing a lyric, producing a track, taking a picture, braiding a braid. Okay, fine. I don't, you know what I'm saying? It was just a good time. All right, y'all, look, I can keep talking about this album. I'll see y'all in the next video. Y'all let me know if you want me to show you more of my Brandy collection from any era. And let me know, what album do you want me to see, do an album retrospective on next? Hey, and ask me, hey, do you have this, Lord? Do you have that? I also have a special Hollywood Lives videotape. Brandy was on this show called Hollywood Lives on Disney Channel in 1995. She was even a Disney girl in 95. Like, come on, this girl was, she was on the front cover of Walt Disney's magazine, which I don't have, but when I find it, I'll get it. Look, I'll see y'all in the next video. Broken hearted, life's not over. Look, I'm not broken hearted, I'm just playing. Look, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.